I need to learn to put my pride in my pocket, ay. Yeah, I know, you was right. I admit it, that trade can be toxic, ay. Yeah, I know.
Well, I've been a therapist for well over a decade now. And between my own consumer experiences, watching social media, along with the stories I hear from all sorts of people that were in the vlogging industry, well, let's face it, when I say that this is a very give the consumer what they want generation. I often see short reels of content creators using profanity, immature humor, sex, outlandish fantasy, and dangerous scenarios that are meant to reel in and capture the developing viewer. Since I can't do any of that on my channel, you'll usually see me throw in a conspiracy, hoax, and fantasy title to lure in new viewers to the channel through a negativity bias perspective. I usually joke around with my clients indicating that if I started a hairbrush channel, that I could be like these fortunate vloggers that are generally used by most of the population. Well, most of the population, right? Those videos are considered non-threatening and, of course, does not provoke powerful negative emotions, challenging your once perceived eternal survival. Seriously, though, kudos for those hairbrush people. I mean, a lot of them are literally creating these videos by simply using their cell phones in their bathrooms and remains popular simply due to people wanting to purchase the associated product. You'll also notice that many of my technical, much older videos on the channel do much better than my religious videos. Heck, I even have a dash cam video of a local car wash close to 1,000 views at the making of this video. Consequently, my channel, on the other hand, is not necessarily what people are generally, or at least initially, looking for. I mean, come on. Changing a religious perspective is much like changing your own political party. You are raised to believe that certainly values and histories you were given were essentially fact. And here I am telling people to explore a new religious doctrine and for you to objectively critique what others have told you that was historically divinely inspired. For some courageous and objective few, you found my channel with open arms and an accepting lens. And for others that view my channel as well, that might be a different story entirely. I receive comments from believers of Jesus Christ that claim I'm being blasphemous with my channel, going against the Holy Bible. And atheists telling me that my viewers should face science. And even some Urantia Book believers falsely believing some of my objective critique videos indicate that I am against the book and in retaliation critique either my voice or the relaxed chuckle that you hear time to time in most of my videos, indicating that they are condescending and disrespectful of the material I am covering. It's ironic for these Urantia Book believers because if they actually read the book in its entirety, it literally states that most people that have a good sense of humor do not exalt their own ego and have a more accurate account of their own significance or importance than those who might take themselves a little too seriously, found in 48.4.15 that states,
when we are tempted to magnify our self-importance, if we stop to contemplate the infinity of the greatness and grandeur of our makers, our own self-glorification becomes sublimely ridiculous, even verging on the humorous. One of the functions of humor is to help all of us take ourselves less seriously. Humor is the divine antidote for the exaltation of ego.
I would also imagine that quite frequently, many of these intolerant commenters probably smash that dislike button more often than not. Meaning for each and every one of my viewers that subscribe and like my videos, your engagement means far more on my channel than it does on videos containing hairbrushes or other neutral topics. Consequently, today's video is on this very phenomenon associated with a negativity bias in the form of intolerance, as per the Urantia Book. Now, we all know the intolerance that we face in our current civilization when it comes to racism, sexism, ageism, classism, which is concerning socioeconomic status, homophobia, xenophobia, which is concerning other cultures, and disability prejudices. But for today's video, we will only be selecting spiritual prejudices. The Urantia Book, for one, cherishes most of the world's religions as steps towards finding our Heavenly Father and presents intolerance as a major obstacle to spiritual growth, emphasizing that it stems from fear, insecurity, and a lack of understanding. It teaches that true spiritual progress requires open-mindedness, humility, and a willingness to embrace diverse perspectives. Thankfully, we find a ray of light at the end of the proverbial tunnel of our material journey when it states,
"In all the worlds of ascension, you will find nothing comparable to human intolerance and the discriminations of inconsiderate caste systems."
found in 47.4.2. Intolerance as a barrier to spiritual growth. The book describes intolerance as a mental poison that prevents individuals from experiencing the fullness of divine truth. It suggests that intolerance often arises when people cling rigidly to their beliefs out of fear, rather than seeking deeper understanding. As pertaining to the Urantia Book, is it really that far-fetched that any holy text that is hundreds or even thousands of years old could be accurate when children playing a 10-minute game of telephone completely screw up the original message of what was being said? Is it outlandish to push aside most religious texts when Jesus themselves refused to write anything down, and in the Urantia Book consistently reminded the faithful that the tools of eternal survival were inside and all around us? Jesus, as portrayed in the Urantia Book, taught that true faith is fearless and welcomes scrutiny. These truths can easily be disseminated by the adjutant mind spirits, the spirit of truth, and of course, our thought adjuster working in tandem. In 110.1.5, we learn that
all physical poisons greatly retard the efforts of the adjuster to exalt the material mind, while the mental poisons of fear, anger, envy, jealousy, suspicion, and intolerance likewise tremendously interfere with the spiritual progress of the evolving soul.
being curious is not being blasphemous, since having faith requires you to listen to yourself rather than discerning the truth by blindly following others. Even the Urantia Book is not a substitute towards you disseminating your own divine truths. Jesus' teachings on intolerance. Jesus consistently rejected intolerance, urging his followers to love and respect all people, regardless of their beliefs. He warned that intolerance often masks hidden doubts about one's own convictions. His advice to the Apostle John, who struggled with feelings of superiority, was,
"Give up your intolerance and learn to love men as I have loved you."
Found in 192.2.1. This highlights the idea that spiritual maturity is measured by one's ability to utilize love pragmatically. In 143.15, Jesus indicated,
"I say to you, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who despitefully use you. And whatsoever you believe that I will do to men, do you also to them."
Christ Michael went on in 143.17 that even concerning his own apostles, that Jesus did not charge them to judge mankind, but rather to save them, offering them the same mercy that can be afforded to all of us in the afterlife. It should be noted that in various other parts of the Urantia Book, higher celestial beings and also divine government often rules in panels of 3 or more individuals, granting the opportunity for varying perspectives prior to judgment. An error that I frequently see in the household is when a child gets in trouble with parents that often fail to solicit the perception of the offender's sibling that is near to the actual perspective of the offender. For those who might be watching today's video that feel as though they are beyond saving, as a friendly reminder that even divine mercy was afforded both Lucifer and Satan, which they both rejected in their iniquity, found in 53.2.5. Consequently, it is neither sin, error, or evil that by itself leads to spiritual extermination, but stagnation, either through the chronic desire to no longer exist or the unyielding belief that a person is unilaterally right. Intolerance versus moral discernment. While Jesus was tolerant of people, he was intolerant of sin, not in a judgmental way, but in a protective manner. Christ Michael viewed sin as a disease, one of which that could spread easily if left unchecked. Contrastingly, we know that planets such as ours, established in light and life, often have their material creatures fuse with their adjusters, since the environment is so conducive to spiritual growth and attunement. Consequently, I'm betting you can already guess what happens on worlds of rebellion that are not even close to reaching that stage of spiritual evolution, because we're in it. Jesus resisted anything that harmed the well-being of his followers, distinguishing between loving the sinner and rejecting harmful actions. The book encourages believers to stand firm in moral values while remaining compassionate and understanding towards stubbornness. In 113.5.2, it even states that
angels are so near you and care so feelingly for you that they figuratively weep because of your willful intolerance and stubbornness.
All right. Overcoming intolerance through spiritual growth. The Urantia Book outlines several ways to overcome intolerance, which includes recognizing that no one has complete knowledge of divine truth, being willing to revise beliefs in light of new understanding, viewing others as fellow seekers on the spiritual journey, and learning from different perspectives rather than dismissing them. This can only be done through exposure to and having patience for others, even for the ones that call you blasphemous, delirious, or even condescending. Thank you again for watching today's video and, of course, your continued support. And I'll see you on the next video.